No, you've been critical. You've had your bones to pick with President Trump. If you took his name out of it and looked solely at what has happened, the policies and the things that have changed around the world and in our country over the first 6 months, how do you rate his presidency so far?
I wouldn't give it a good rating.
He has to say that because the bulk of his audience are mongrels.
You know,
Why not?
simply because, you know, the least of us are still being impacted the worst. Like when you
Yeah. Because 6 months in, everybody's supposed to be brought up out the trenches, right?
look at something like, you know, the big beautiful bill, that's something that, you know, I'm going to benefit from because of the tax bracket that I'm in. But, you know, there's going to be so many people that's hurt by that bill. And
No one's going to be hurt by that bill. And this is why I know he didn't read it. This is how I know he didn't read it. You read the talking points, you didn't read the bill.
you know, anything that, you know, takes away Medicaid from people.
The only people who got Medicaid taken away were illegals. So able-bodied people between, I believe, what was it, 18 and 65, I believe. I don't recall off the top of my head. You have to basically contribute to continue to get your services, right? So you can volunteer, you can get a part-time job. That's all that's being asked of you. So no one's going to lose something because the government just wants to snatch it from you. But when you literally think that you're entitled to Medicaid, no, you pay into it and you take advantage of it if you need it, but you're not entitled to it for the rest of your life. And that's the poor mentality right there.
And he's going to put people in a worse financial situation than, you know, they were previously in. I'm not for. And, you know,
That's the pseudo intellectualism for me. And the only reason why they book him is because he has a platform. They're not booking this man because he actually knows what the hell he's talking about. They're booking him because he has an audience.
he ran on that. Like he ran on, you know, the economy. He ran
And the economy is actually improving.
on saying that, you know, grocery prices were going to be down and, you know,
Grocery prices are down.
That has happened.
No.
Inflation is.
Yes, grocery prices are down. What the f do y'all want to pay 5 cents for eggs? Well, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Prices are down. You just don't want to see it. And why don't you want to see it? Because of who the president is. I promise you, if this was Joe Biden or Barack Obama doing the same stuff, oh my God, this is brilliant. Oh my God, this is a miracle. We're waiting for this. But because it's Donald Trump, you can't give him his props. You can't. You absolutely cannot.
Is trending down. And by the way, Medicaid, we want to make sure that people.
You can't just say no because it is the truth, Charlemagne. You have no idea what the inflation rate is right now. You have no idea. You don't know what the GDP is. And you have no idea that provisions were already made for these things.
People who are not actual recipients or shouldn't be getting Medicaid are off of Medicaid, so it can actually benefit more people.
Facts. Exactly. So when you have SA, Guadalupe, Hong Kong, and Maritza on it, who have no business being on it because they didn't pay into it, when you remove them, it makes room for more people to take advantage of the system who actually need it, the truly disabled people. You're always bitching about change, you get change, and you still bitch because it's Trump.
There is good stuff in that bill, though. You have the 2017 tax cuts that are.
The 2017 tax cuts literally benefit the middle class, the lower middle class, and poor folks the most. You think of all the tax breaks, again, that I went over in the one big beautiful bill, all the tax breaks that folks are going to get to take advantage of. You think no tax on overtime is for CEOs? You think no tax on tips is for people who are at the high level management levels? No, they're not for those folks. But no, we can't we can't say that because first of all, he doesn't know. That's the first thing. You can tell he doesn't know because if he did know, he would go in there and just say that. Yeah, there's some good things coming down the pipeline. It's not an overnight thing.
Made permanent, and that really is for everybody.
You know what? I'm gonna go off script right quick. Hold on. Where the hell are my notes on the big beautiful bill? Permanent decrease to individual tax rates. Most expensive provision in the bill will reduce government stealing by up to $2.1 trillion. How does that not benefit poor people? How does that not benefit middle class people? That benefits middle class people. So the 39.6% tax rate will now be 37%. The 25% tax rate will now be 22%. And the 15% individual tax rate will now be 12%. These were the 2017 tax cuts due to expire at the end of the year. They are now permanent. How does that not benefit the average American? The standard deduction. 90% of taxpayers claim the standard deduction. Pre-2017, it was $6,350. It will now be permanently at $15,000. How does that not benefit the middle class? How does that go against the middle class? The standard deduction for married couples was $12,700 pre-2017. It will now be $30,000. How does that not benefit the American citizen, the average American citizen? There's the temporary upgrade to the itemized deductions, temporary increase of the SALT tax. So when you live in those high price, high tax states, yes, like New York, New Jersey, California, right? So it increases the SALT tax from $10,000 to $40,000. Now, if you live in a high price, high tax state and you can actually write off more, how does that disadvantage you? How does that make you more poor? So you're worried about bullshit like grocery prices. If you have way more money in your pocket, you don't give a that eggs aren't 12 cents. Analytical, not emotional. This is what happens when you're analytical. Temporary car loan interest deduction on newly purchased American-made cars. If you are single and make under $100,000 or married and make under $200,000, then you can take advantage of this deduction. And then we're talking about seniors, right? Seniors, the tax deduction for seniors, because he couldn't do the no tax on Social Security. He couldn't quite get that through. So what he did instead is that for folks over 65, they can now write off up to $6,000 for each qualifying individual. This doubles what it was last year. How does that not benefit folks? How does that not benefit senior citizens? I talked about no tax on overtime. Well, we can get into the numbers. Single payers tax can pay up to $12,500 in deductions against their overtime wages, and individuals up to $25,000. Married people up to $25,000. No tax on tips. Single payers making up to $150,000 and married taxpayers making up to $300,000 can deduct up to $25,000 in tips. How does that not benefit the middle and lower class folks? Having programs where they're trying to get you off the system is a good thing. Setting up welfare and Section 8 and all these other programs to be temporary is a good thing. When you know you have 2 years, you have 1 year, you have 6 months, you have 2 years, you have 3 years to get your shit together. When you know you have a timeline and a deadline, you get activated. So if all they're saying is you have to contribute a little bit to get this benefit, cool. You have 2 years on this benefit. Section 8 should not be permanent. That's how they trap you. How many times do I have to say this? That's the oppression. That's what's holding you down. That's what's keeping you from being your best. It promotes laziness. It promotes dependency, because you know you're going to get that hit every 4 weeks. You're going to get the hit every 4 weeks. That's not living. That's floating. That's just surviving on barely the minimum. Why would you not want a president who wants you to move beyond mediocre? I said this about the welfare state from the time I was a kid. There has to be a way to get off of this responsibly, right? It can't be just, oh, you made $1 over, you're cut off. Like, no, there has to be a system by the way to get you to function on your own.